to the Campbell cabin. Today is a special day. I've been waiting for this day for 3 or 4 months now. I have this new stove, the Woodstock Soapstone company, the Fireview model, and today, or I should say this evening, I'm gonna light the first fire of 3 seasoning fires to get the stove seasoned. Now, seasoning the wood stove, what does that mean? I mean, if you have a steel stove, or maybe even if you have a cast iron stove, some people don't season them, but when you season your wood stove, it's just, I would say 3 in the literature that comes with the stove says light 3 small to moderate fires in order to take the moisture from the cast iron and the soapstone. So here we go. I'm going to show you a couple parts on the stove and what we're going to do to get the first fire started, and then we're going to start the fire. Okay, the first thing that the manual says is to pull the bypass lever down the whole way. So now we are in bypass mode. That means we are bypassing the catalyst. The next step, we will move the air control lever down to level 4, which is down the whole way, they're saying. This will allow maximum airflow into the firebox. Okay, now they're saying to open the top of the stove to expose the bypass. Basically right here is where it's going up the chimney. Now, we need to establish if we have a good draft or not. So to do that, we're going to light a little piece of newspaper. I'm going to hold it down here. If we do not have a good draft, then yeah, it has a good draft. It's drawing it right up the chimney. We have a good tall chimney here, so that helps. Okay, so we established, yes, you can see that right there. It is drawing the smoke right up the chimney. If we did not have a good draft, then we would have to crack a door or a window near the stove, and that would help establish a good draft. So, on to the next step. We're going to close this. Okay, I have some balled up newspapers in the bottom there, right on top of the bottom of the stove, the floor of it, and the directions say specifically do not have anything in the bottom to hold it up off of there, any kind of grates you might put in there, whatnot. Start the fire on the bottom of the stove. So I have some newspapers and some kindling in there, and we're going to light it. Here we go. Let it crack to 1/4 of an inch, and that should give it a little draft to get it going. And yes, this is it. The first fire. Now, if you have a new stove and you light a seasoning fire, be prepared for a little smell from the paint curing maybe. We may have to crack a window. So this is the remnants of the first seasoning fire, and as you can see, there wasn't much fire going on, and the stove got hot at the door. I couldn't even touch the door at all, and the top got up to maybe 110 or 120 degrees on top of the stove. And so today's fire, we're going to build it a little bigger, and we're going to bring it up a little more. I'm not taking any chances. I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to season it proper. I do not want to crack a soapstone due to the fact that I'm rushing it and I'm not getting the moisture out. Here's our second seasoning fire, and we'll see if I have to add a little bit to it to get it hotter than what yesterday's. Yesterday's temperature got up to a little over 100 degrees, and like I said, I couldn't touch the door. It was so hot. It actually warmed up the living room. So today I'm going to make it a little hotter, and it'll work out better because it's colder in the living room. We're going to get it up there. I'm going to think around 200 is what I'm shooting for. And then we'll let that cool down, and then we'll do another fire later this afternoon. So, second seasoning fire is coming along pretty well. Let's look inside there. Oh yeah. Now today we got it quite a bit warmer. We're up there. We're cruising right there. We're moving on up 150, 160. We're about 160. We're going to see how far it goes, and we're going to let this burn out. It looks like the second seasoning fire's burning down. I don't see any more heat coming up on top here. It made it up to 200 degrees on top. That's about what I was hoping for. And we had the airflow lever the whole way down, and we had the bypass open. So we have not engaged the catalyst yet. Maybe later, maybe this evening, possibly. We'll see how long it takes for this heavy stove to cool down, and then we're going to do another seasoning fire. Okay, we just had the stove cool down to room temperature, a little under 100, maybe a little warmer than room temperature, but it cooled down, easy to touch, nice and warm. And we are now just starting the third and final seasoning fire. And it's lighting up right nice. And we're going to get the stove up to around 300, and we could engage the catalyst at that temperature, but we're not this time. We're going to just keep enough wood in there for it to get up around 3, maybe a little less, and we're going to let it burn out, cool down. Good morning. So today we're gonna light the fire for the fourth fire. We did 3 seasoning fires. Each one, we brought the first one up to about 120, maybe real close to that, and then we let it burn down. The second one, we brought it up to 200 degrees, and I quit feeding it, and it burned out. And then we brought the third fire up to into the range where the cat would have worked. The catalyst would have ignited, but I didn't want to do that because I seasoned it. I want to do this stove right. I don't want to crack a stone. So we brought it up around 300, and it took a long time. It burned out. It took hours. So I've been working on seasoning this stove for about a day and a half now, because it takes so long for the stove to cool back down. After each fire, you need to cool it down to room temperature again and light another one. But today, it's a little chilly in the house. We're going to light it up, and we're going to bring it up into the catalyst burning temperature, and then we're going to make sure this is over 350 on the stack, and this is 250 to 300, and we are going to ignite the catalyst for the first time. The inside is looking good. That's a beautiful looking fire. Beautiful stove. Love it. Now, we're ready. We are into the green, and the temperature on top is nearly 300 degrees. And remember, if the temperature on top of the stove is 300, the inside temperature is twice that. Rule of thumb. It's nearly 600 inside. And with this stove at 500 degrees, supposedly that catalyst will work. It will reburn the gases at 500. So we are way close to that. We are over. And the temperature on the stack is reading over 400. It needs to be at least 350. So we're going to come back here for the first time since I've had this stove. New stove for me. It's been sitting there. Now we're looking down here. We're going to engage the cat, which is this lever right here, and it says right there it's open right now. You can see the open. We're going to lift this lever up. It's tight. The cat is engaged. The air damper control is at 4. Once you see this, okay, the cat is engaged. Now, we are going to choke the air damper back to 1. And then, I should be using a special tool. Okay, the air damper is at 1. It's still burning kind of normal. I think I'm going to cut the air damper back. Maybe since the wood is so well seasoned and dry, we could cut it back a little further to fine tune it. The manual says you could cut it back below 1 to fine tune it the way you want it. So we're going to cut it back a little bit more until we choke the fire out. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes since I engaged the catalyst, and I choked the airflow lever back to 1, and we still had some fire in the box pretty good, and I went ahead and choked the airflow lever back further, closer to 0 almost, because I want to see the catalyst. I want to see the gases getting burned up on top of there. That's my goal today. I want to see it burn up there. But the other information that we want to look for to see if your cat is reburning the gases, since we basically choked the fire out down as low as you want to choke it, it's going to burn out in the bottom, and it's going to be like a smolder pretty much. And one of the signs would be that your stove temperature is rising on top, which it's starting to rise. It's 310. And another sign your catalyst is burning, the stove pipe temperature is dropping back. So it's down below 300 now. It was around 400 when I engaged. Gas is going up the chimney. It's getting reburned. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I want to see the gases on the bottom of the stove. I want to see not coming off the wood. I want to see it coming down and out of there. So we'll set it here. Keep an eye on this. There's a tiny bit of flame coming from the bottom of the stove up. And you can see it going It's going directly for the catalyst because that's where the draft is coming from, pulling it up in there. And you can see the flames up in there as they enter the catalyst. You can see them reigniting. It's not anything dramatic like you got some big fire coming down out from the catalyst. I would think maybe we can try to achieve that one day. I would have a lot more wood in there, a lot more gases, and then choke it back, but we don't have a whole lot in the bottom. But I will say, I'll show you the top of the stove, and I will show you the stack temperature, and that's what's important. Okay, the top of the stove is 340, 335, 340. It's rising. It's not going up like crazy because I have the air lever control back, and I have the stack temperature is now down around 275. So that's a sign your catalyst is reburning the gases. As your stove temperature is rising and your stack is dropping, it's burning up all the gases. It's definitely heating the house this morning. It wasn't that cold in here. It was 66 degrees. Now it's 72 degrees about an hour later. So that's how you operate your Woodstock Soapstone Fireview model with the catalyst. There you go. You can see the flame. You see the flame in the back? That's reburning it right there. The flame that's up high. It gets up near the cat and it's lighting up. Right there. I'm outside here. I just wanted to share this. The stove is choked back to nothing. Airflow is back almost to zero. The catalyst is engaged, and any other stove that's non-cat or my Yodel that I had previously choked back to nothing, smolder through the night. It would be smoking out of there like a coal train. So that tells you how efficient this stove is. Thanks for watching today, and this was the second video I've made about the Woodstock Soapstone Company's Fireview model, and we did the seasoning fires, and we also did the catalytic burn engagement. So if you would like to subscribe and you're still with us, or give us a thumbs up, it helps us become more relevant out there. And I appreciate you watching. Have a good day.